Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is our second demo today in the Bankless DAO server. And here today now with us, we have Mitch from Praise. We're excited to be using Praise. Praise is one of the newer bot integrations that we have around here in Bankless DAO. Praise is actually a community intelligence system that promotes active participation and collaboration through peer recognition and rewards. Praise helps communities become more intelligent, productive, and inclusive by providing a simple way for community members to acknowledge, praise, and reward each other's contributions. And we all know how important that is in the DAO space. It's important to be told that you're doing a good job, and it's important to be rewarded for the little things that you do. So thanks for joining us, Mitch. Feel free to dive into your demo whenever you're ready. Go ahead and give yourself an intro as well.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, that was an awesome intro. You got it all there. Hold on. My name is Mitch. As mentioned, I'm the Praise Success Coach for the Bankless DAO. I'm going to be hanging around Bankless and helping you all integrate Praise into your daily DAO lives. So just as NF Thinker mentioned there, this is what Praise is. I'm not going to repeat it, okay? But you can see it on the screen there. And just getting into what Praise is, a very, very simple thing. Praise exists right now actually in Bankless DAO Discord. And if you go into General, underneath Hype and Recognition, that is where your fellow DAO members are dishing praise right now. So very simple idea here. I'll show it a little bit more in a live demo, but just going into Discord, typing in, /praise, that Discord handle, and then a reason. So very, very easy to use through the Praise bot that was mentioned there. Just acknowledging people and rewarding them for the contribution that they're doing, which is very, very important. Bringing that up, some things for you to think about, and if you have any ideas, just spitball them in the chat here. I'm actually very curious, but considering the mission of the Bankless DAO, what sort of contributions do you value in your community? I know Bankless has lots of awesome guilds and they're all focusing on different things. And so thinking of, within your micro, within your guilds, what kind of contributions are like the killer stuff, awesome, hell yes. And in terms of the DAO in general and its mission, what sort of contributions are the top rung for you in your own perspective? So think on that. Feel free just to drop them in the chat if you have ideas or whatever, and we'll kind of come back around to it a bit later in the demo. The science. So as NF Thinker was saying, it's really, really important in our DAO culture to take some time to dish out some gratitude. Some of the scientific benefits that we've analyzed is, things like making us feel appreciated and valued, strengthening your sense of connection, strengthening the bonds between your community, and increasing cooperation. A really, really cool thing that's generated from Praise is when you dish all these little instances of acknowledgement, you can start to build a contribution graph. So, looking at that, you can see who did what, when did they do it, what was the impact, what was the collective memory of the community. Because when you have all this stuff indexed over time, for example, I think Giveth has been doing Praise the longest, over 3 years at this point, to be honest. You have all of these instances of Praise collected in a database, and then you can perform analytics on it, or you can just go back in time and see what were people doing in March just by looking at the Praise data. 4 reasons. I'll break these out into a little bit more for each category. 4 reasons that Praise is awesome are things that you can do with it. Community intelligence, reputation, rewards, and building a community of giving and gratitude. The community intelligence, I'll break this a bit more into the demo. Just as I mentioned, when you're collecting this data, sometimes over years at a time, you can perform analytics on it. And so we have that built in as a standalone feature, and also it's built into the Praise dashboard itself, which I'll demo. So you can do some cool analytics on it, seeing what was the highest rated contributions for a given period of time, what was an average score given to it, or even grouping Praise into categories and seeing generally what themes are valued higher within the Bankless community. So again, and other things like seeing if the activity is up or down, getting a pulse on like what the health of the DAO is based on praise activity. You can use all that data then to produce distribution systems. One of them is reputation. So taking all of that praise data, plugging it in, and then being able to issue things like NFTs or issuing reputation tokens or building an off-chain leaderboard. There's all sorts of different things you can do. If you want to move from reputation and build something in tandem or apart, you can try doing rewards. And this is more using like standard ERC20 tokens, like the bank token, for example, that has monetary value to it. You could plug it in with any sort of app that's out there. You could create distribution systems with Gnosis safes, with Disperse app, with an Aragon DAO. It's very, very customizable. And so what Praise does is it makes a very, very easy way to go from praising to quantifying to analyzing to distributing. So you can take that praise data and it's very easy to pass it through the pipeline and actually create tangible ways to like acknowledge and reward the people who are getting praised. And of course, as we mentioned, building a community of giving and gratitude, which I think it's especially important for me. I've been praising for a while. And what I find is having praise as a ritual gives me time during my work week to reflect on what I've done and who I've worked with, and then showing some gratitude for it. It's pretty awesome. You know, I think we're guilty of it all, that we're pretty heads down working all the time, and sometimes we forget to dish some gratitude to the people that we're working with. And so this is a really, really awesome way to like make it tangible, make it fun, and like engage the whole community in something that's really, really important for just raising morale and like bringing people together. So this is the process. We're going to do it through the demo here. I'm going to show you a bit more how it works. As I mentioned here, we showed praise. So you guys already learned, you know, dishing praise. It's not that hard. During the process there, I mentioned something about quantification. And so this is a really, really cool thing. You can customize this a lot of ways for the Bankless community. But basically, once this praise is all collected, then you can create a pool of people within your community that are going to go through and give that praise a score. Because not all contributions are the same, right? You know, you could praise somebody for creating an awesome Twitter thread, or we could praise somebody for auditing a smart contract, you know, and they're not quite the same things. You know, they're both, you know, pretty awesome, but like probably auditing a smart contract requires a lot more effort and skill, no offense, than writing a tweet thread, perhaps. And so bringing in people who are part of your community that have context to be able to give those a score. What we do within this system, and again, you can customize it, is we have multiple different community members quantifying a single piece of praise. So instead, it's not like one person arbitrarily giving a score. It's like we take the average across 4 people giving it a score. So it's a little bit less subjective, I guess, or you know, you mitigate a single person's subjectivity by doing it this way. We do this in all sorts of different ways. For example, here you could see that little slider. Some communities just use like a score of like 1, 2, 3, 4. Other communities score things on like a Fibonacci sequence, so like 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, so on and so forth. You can dismiss things, you can mark them as duplicates, and there's all sorts of little settings here and there that you can do to make it match what your community thinks is right. You go through the quantification process, and admin usually sets up a period. They say, okay, we're going to look at all the praise that was dished during the month of March or from the first 2 weeks of March. They draft those community members from a pool. They're randomly selected. Were you going to say something? Sorry. Okay.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So they're randomly selected. It's almost like you can imagine like getting drafted for jury duty. You know, you're in. This is your civic duty to your DAO. You're going to get in there. You're going to quantify some praise. We get all those scores together, And then once we have all the praise and all the scores associated with them, then we can do the analytics and then the distribution that we mentioned before. Moving on closer to the demo here, just showing you guys other communities that are using Praise right now. You can see obviously Bankless DAO is there, DAppNode, Shapeshift, TC, Common Stack, Bright ID, Giveth, General Magic, and Gnosis are all using Praise right now, and we've got an absolutely slammed waitlist of people looking to get Praise into their community. Some things we're working on: one-click deployments, being able to mint reputation tokens directly from the dashboard, integrating AI, and all that wonderful stuff. Long-term, building it out instead of as a service into a protocol, and building an economy of praise. Next up, demo time. You guys like that word, Art?
Oh yeah, that's nice. Love it.
Bring you back, right? We're going to switch windows here. We're going to show you Discord. Oh, look at all those beautiful people. Cool, nice. Let's look here. Where is general, hype and recognition? Oh, look, NF Thinker's already on it. Look at that. That's pretty awesome. Cool. So if you've never used Praise before in Discord, the first thing that you need to do is type in /activate. And what this is going to do is this is going to bring you into a page. I think I'm already activated. Oh, I'm not. Wow. Okay, let's go. Let's check this out. So here, we go in here, we just connect our wallet. And then all this is doing is aliasing your Discord handle to an Ethereum address. We're plugged back in. We sign the activation message through MetaMask or whatever. And then we should be in. Are we looking for time? We're looking pretty good. Now, if we go back to Discord, we should be able to do this. Let's see, fingers crossed, huh? Praise. I want to praise, links for inviting me to present praise for Bankless DAO. Let's try this again. Sometimes that first time activating takes a couple seconds. Twice as nice. All right, let's see. Okay, Discord account is activated. Praise. Links for inviting me to present praise today. All right, let's see. Yes. Okay, we just did it. We just dished our first praise. So there we go. That's in. The bot picks it up, gives you a green check mark, locked in the vault, and gives me a nice message for dishing praise for the first time. That's cool. That's awesome. So we dish praise. That's the extent of what you do in Discord. If you're an admin, you can do some cool stuff like forwarding praise on behalf of someone else. Like if they're unable to use Discord, or maybe it was dished verbally and you want to capture it, you can do some stuff like forwarding. If you're an admin, you can do announcements to active quantifiers in the rounds. There's all sorts of other stuff you could do with the praise bot as well. But for now, we'll shift gears here. We'll go back to our internet browser. And I'm probably not going to have anything interesting to show you in the Bankless praise dashboard, but if we go into this Giveth one, I'm an active quantifier there in Giveth. Surprise, surprise. If we go into the Giveth dashboard, you can see I have my own profile. So there you can see all of it. It says my rewards address, my Discord handle. You can see all of the praise that I've received over the course of history. You can see I've got almost 1,500 praise. That's pretty, pretty OG. The praise that I've given over time and to whom. You can see in what Discord channel it was praised in. You can see it was used through the Discord platform. So you got all these cool things just on like your own praise profile. You can see I'm an admin, I'm a forwarder, I'm a quantifier. I do all the things. Now for quantifiers here, if you're drafted, if you opt in to become a quantifier, your admin will add you as a quantifier into the system. And then when I'm drafted to quantify, you can see, we're gonna let this load here. This is a round that's already been opened. I was assigned 179 items to praise. You can see the name of the round, the period start date, the period end date, the number of praises total that were dished. So lots of info here, but whatever. We're just going to go to quantify. I'm a goody two shoes, so I did all my praise already. But we can just go through and I can show you guys how this works. Looking at this here, receiver. So Wild Wanderer received this praise. So you're like, okay, I'm quantifying the praise that was given to this person. And oh, I shouldn't have clicked that, my bad. From me to her for this reason, for setting up our ETH Denver booth today. Awesome work. So I just go in there and I give it a score. And I'm like, wow, that ETH Denver was pretty pimp. So I mean, I'm going to give that a pretty high score. So, you know, I give that this score. I saw this one here. I was like, okay, this is again for setting up our ETH Denver booth. So if I wanted to make that a duplicate, I just click the original, I click the duplicate, I mark it as a duplicate, and then you set the score of the original, and this will take a percentage of that. Bankless can customize it, so the admin can change the settings and give it, for example, we say a duplicate is worth 10% of the original score, but you could make this 50%, you could make it 100%, you could do whatever you want. But anyway, so you can mark duplicates in here when you're quantifying. You could go in here and I could say, incredible week in MTV's The Real World Giveth House. What? And I could mark that as dismissed. So maybe it's not valid praise or for whatever reason. You can dismiss it. It gives it a score of 0. But I think that is pretty hilarious, that piece of praise. So I'm going to give it a score there. So that's basically it. You run through the list. You have all these people that you're going to quantify their praise for. And you just go through and make sure you finish everything in there. So if you're a quantifier, that's basically the extent of what you'll need to do. You go in there, you just quantify the praise, and then that's it. You can set it up so that actually you can reward people for doing quantification work. So that's an incentive that you can build in. Either you can reward them in reputation tokens or in bank tokens or in USDC or however you choose to do your rewards distributions. If you're back on this view here in the periods, we can see some other cool stuff like receivers for the round, givers for the round, who was the other people that were drafted as quantifiers, some settings if you're an admin, but more interesting enough, oh, here, let's go to a round that's been closed already. Oh, what this road? We can click on some analytics, and it'll produce you some analytics right here in the dashboard. Total number of praise, 349 for that round, and the top 10. So the highest scored praise across the average of all the quantifiers that quantified. The hard work that Lauren did for launching Give Power, average score of 89. Damn. You know, Lauren to Monique for keeping our dev team organized, getting Give listed on CalSwap, whatever, you know, it goes on and so forth. You know, I'm not gonna shell Giveth on this call, but those are the top 10 for that round. You can see some other stuff here by receivers by score. So who received the highest total praise score? In the winner there was Griff, then you had Lauren and Jake, and it goes so on and so forth. So just a visual representation there. Receivers by number, so, you know, ignorant to the score, who received the most single instances of praise. Again, Griff is still the winner. then Ashley, then Lauren, then myself, Then you can look at some other stuff by givers, top givers by number. You can look at some analytics around quantifiers. So the number of instances of a praise score being given, mostly zeros, a lot of 8s, 13s, and again, because Giveth uses the Fibonacci sequence, this is what these numbers represent on the x-axis. Some other stuff, quantifiers by score. You can see the scoring distribution, the spread, all sorts of built-in analytics, and it just keeps on going. You can also export this data as a CSV. So you can export it right away as a format for distributing in an Aragon DAO. You can export it just as a raw CSV file right from the dashboard. And then apart from that, there's some other cool features, like obviously you can do a user lookup. There's also change logs here. So if you're an admin, you can see all the activity going on in here, which might help you troubleshoot. And then just some cool like admin settings right from the dashboard. So period settings, settings for your Discord bot. If you want to customize the way that you export the content, it's all in there as well. So that's basically what you need to do from the dashboard. Some example of stuff that we do in other communities. For example, you will get these reports. You will build them into analysis. So this is using a standalone tool that's called the Reward Analytics and Distribution Dashboard. You can produce these standalone reports that can be shared as URLs to your community without having to go inside the dashboard. You can see how many tokens were distributed. For this case, this is the token engineering commons. How many quantifiers, so like all the important information is all there. And then you can go down, same kind of information we were seeing before, top highest contributions, reward distribution, so on and so forth. There's also some cool stuff here, like some better visual representations of the graphs and more detailed quantifier data that looks at some interesting stuff as Pearson coefficients and Nakamoto coefficients as well. And you can also use the same tool to produce another report that basically aggregates this time over a given period. So basically you could round up all of your quantification data and analytics into a period of a year and then run some cool stuff on that as well. So you can see how active praise was over time. If we look at, since this is an older report, but since October 24th until October 10th, you can see how active praise was in your Discord, givers and receivers, how many quantifiers were needed for each round, all sorts of other stuff there as well. Well, pretty cool. This is the stuff I was saying before. This is like where you can get top 3 highest scored praise. So you're able to actually group the reasons for dishing praise and by keywords and pile those keywords into categories. And then you can start to get a pulse on like what types of things or sorts of themes that are more higher valued. So if we look at this, for example, we can see, the categories of praise like attendance, discussion, work, share, Twitter, hack, IRL. And so all these different categories, you can see how they start to trend over time. So some pretty cool stuff there. And then the last part, when you have all these analytics and you're good to go, the RAD tool can produce for you pre-formatted forum posts. So if you guys use Discord or anything else that uses Markdown formatting, you can produce these reports automatically and post them for your community to check out. And just kind of like saying, okay, who's getting the rewards? Maybe some other info like top 10. All this stuff can be generated automatically using the dashboard. And then you can move on into distribution. So, for example, we use in the TEC, we're old school, we use an Aragon DAO. And again, you can just produce all of those very easy using anything. It just produces a CSV format that you can import into any sort of app. Basically, I think a lot of them are formatted to handle CSVs. So yeah, so that's pretty much the whole gist of the demo. You guys saw everything from praising to quantifying, the analytics, and then all the different options for distributing tokens, whether it be reputation or some other ERC20 or an NFT or whatever you want. Go ahead.
Nice. Yeah, the graphs. You got me with the graphs. I love a good graph, and you guys just have all sorts of graphs on there. The
Yeah,
ways of visualizing this data are off the charts.
that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Arby's of charts. Uh,
nice. Beautiful.
yeah, I think we still got some minutes left for
Hmm.
questions if there's any.
Yes, yeah, we do have time for questions. We've got Lynx who loves to ask questions. He's a man of a million questions, so I'd be disappointed if he didn't ask at least one. Um, I think you covered quite. Oh, he's on stage. Do it. Go for it,
Yeah,
homie.
I'm thinking on my feet right now. I'm thinking of a question. I guess like um in general, like there's praise that exists and we saw how you can like add compensation to praise. Do you see how people are onboarding people to onboarding new contributors to praise, how they kind of remind people to praise? Are there like regular time intervals? Like you were saying like, "Oh, I give my weekly praise." Are there like regular time intervals that come up? How does that work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So one example is like in Giveth, we dedicate the first 15 minutes of our community call to verbally say the praise that we dished. And so, I get that moment every Thursday, the hour before the community call, everyone's dishing praise. And so you build a ritual. It's like, okay, Thursday morning, I'm gonna like think about everything I did and write down all of my praise so that I can say it on the community call. Another interesting thing is I think you mentioned onboarding as well. It's really fun, and I find it's quite easy to onboard people onto Praise because all you do is just dish praise to somebody and then they're plugged in. You give them praise and they're like, "Oh, hell yeah, that's awesome." And then like I find almost instantly that they want to start doing it themselves.
Yeah, there was a big rush of people jumping onto Praise as soon as it was released here within the server. So yeah, it's just something that people like to do. We got Feng back on stage. Hey Feng, do you have a question?
Yeah, this is, just did my demo, but this is very interesting in terms of sort of what we're trying to create in terms of building credentials. So are you deployed on BNB chain as well, or is it still mostly on sort of Ethereum based in terms of, issuing reputation tokens and NFTs?
At the end of the day, it's very customizable. All this is just
Hmm.
working out of GitHub repos and CSVs. So you could
Ah,
deploy it
okay.
on any chain you want.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. And in terms of the automated process of giving out these reputation tokens, and that's already built in. And what about the sort of associated gas fees
The
that's
gas
paid
fees,
back?
you'll have to, I think you'll probably pay it when the transaction's generated.
Okay,
So
got it.
somebody has to you can generate the token distribution, but somebody has to push the button to send it, right? So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
probably the sender would be the one forking out those gas fees.
I see, I see. So mostly projects. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
What is
Understood.
automated right now is the producing the CSV reports. So for Gnosis safes, for Aragon DAOs, for the Disperse app, you can import CSVs directly into those systems. So
Mm-hmm,
any sort of multi-send app that accepts a CSV can work with Praise. Uh,
mm,
the the token distribution directly from the dashboard is like it's on the roadmap, but it's not
mm-hmm.
ready yet.
I see. Yeah, we would be very interested in deploying Praise on our Discord server as well. And How long's the wait? You mentioned there's a huge line for it.
Yeah, there is a huge line. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not sure what the wait list is now, but I can pull you in to the right places so that like you can at least like get your foot in the door with that.
Sure, that would be great. Yep, that's it. Thanks.
Nice. We're making matches on stage. Love it.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Now all you have to do is go run 20 miles, Mitch.
I love that app. That's great. I like the presentation.
For those who missed the earlier demo, that was Gritty. And Fang, aka Rothko Dog, is the CEO and founder of Gritty. So yeah, interesting to see that Gritty's gonna add praise into their Discord too. So in terms of a profit model for praise themselves, how do you operate? How do you see this generating profit moving forwards?
So we did do a first batch of communities, and we did do it for free. Moving past the waitlist, we will start charging for people to come in and do the deployment. So obviously it's open source, so anybody could come in and just like, fork the repo and set it up themselves. But a lot of it is based around like the cultural education. So like somebody coming in and like doing this demo that I'm doing right now and just hanging around and like supporting the community, and also like, bug reporting, building features on demand, all those sorts of things. So there will be a paid professional deployment feature for new communities.
Okay, that makes sense. And I've noticed some similarities with what Coordinape does, although it's certainly different. How are you differentiating yourselves in that respect? Do you see Coordinape as a competitor, and do you have any other competitors out there that you're trying to sort of fight for space?
Coordinape is really good. And I think it's like, if I've only used Coordinape like maybe once or twice. So it's like you have this list of people and you get an X amount of give tokens, and then you kind of have to dish them out to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm paraphrasing. That's Coordinape. So then like the thing that's missing from Coordinape is the like vocal culture of gratitude. It's just kind of like you're just kind of dishing things out to people, giving them points, but there's not really like any verbalization that's happening, of the actual contributions. But the quantification, I agree, is similar, but like I think praise is also more customizable in certain ways.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Coordinape is sort of like post fact, go on there, distribute some tokens, and everyone has a certain amount of tokens to give. Whereas with praise, you can do it all day, every day if you really wanted to, and that quantifier implementation is interesting too. Initially, when I saw PraiseBot, I thought it was a way of sending tips. Is this something that is within the roadmap, like specifically sending a tip to somebody? So I want to praise Links for being awesome and send them 10 bank.
Yes, I mean it'll be less precise because it'll depend on how you do your distribution at the end. Like if you're giving out, but
Yeah, no, I just mean like from my specific wallet. So connect my wallet and send my own money to a person specifically. Or not money. These are not money. These are just play tokens, everyone. Just so that you know.
Yeah, it's built more around the community, rewarding people rather than individuals. So it could be the same thing as like the community giving a tip in a way that's like a retroactive reward, but not built specifically around a single person sending a very specific amount of tokens to another person.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I got some other things I could show you guys here, actually. There's maybe just one more slide. There's some stuff about upcoming features using the power of AI. And so being able to parse all of this praise data over, X amount of time, potentially years, and producing bios about your contributors, which is pretty cool. So You could see there's one here written about Griff. We took all of the praise data and wrote a bio about Griff. Another thing is like you could parse praise data given over amount of time and then produce community newsletters from the praise data. So some other cool stuff you could do there using praise data and applying the power of AI to it.
Interesting. Nice. Did you say you have your own AI integration for that, or is that
Up and coming.
okay?
Yeah.
Beauty.
Yeah. Great. I'll just drop this here. If you guys want more info, there's the Praise website. And if you guys want the Praise Discord, I can just drop you an invite as well.
Oh, I did have a question about from the Praise website. I hope I wasn't going on to the wrong website.
I got it up here on the screen, so it should look like this one.
Yeah, maybe I was going to the wrong. Oh, I was going to the wrong website. I was on praisetoken.io.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. That was where my questions came from, because I clicked on the Twitter button at the foot of that page, and it goes to Praise Pals Metaverse. And I thought, well, what does this have to do with Metaverse? Obviously nothing, because that's the wrong webpage. Okay. That's why you've got the incorrect logo on your thumbnail. So I'll make sure and get that swapped straight away and make sure.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks for clarifying that. So give
No
praise.xyz. I knew that, and I actually came across that problem last week when I was creating the slide for the community call, and I totally forgot. So there we go. So you got a lot of documentation on there.
Yeah, if you want to just like get this started yourself, again, it's all open source. So yeah.
Beauty.
Great. Well, if there's nothing else, then I suppose I'll hand it back over.
Nothing from my end. Links, anyone else? Do you have any other questions?
Nothing on my end.
All right. This has been very informative. Thanks a lot for sharing today, Mitch, and coming along and sharing with our community. This has been streamed live to YouTube, and we have a link there in the chat. I'll make sure and share it with you separately as well, just so you're able to share that with your community. So if anybody wants to come back and watch this after the fact, they are more than welcome. So yeah, brilliant. This has been really great having you, and look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Great. Yeah, I'll be here in the Discord if anyone has any questions. I'll be around.
Beauty. All right. On that note, thanks everyone for attending. Thanks for watching on YouTube. None of this has been financial advice or investment advice or legal or tax advice. We're just here building stuff, having fun in Web3. Thanks again, and see you next week for another round of Bankless DAO demos.